Yeah, so when we're looking at high percentage no-gi strangles, most of the highest percentage strangles come from the underhook side, where we trap an arm and then apply a strangle grip. And when you're looking at high percentage finishes in the gi, you're looking at bow and arrow strangles where you get an initial grip and then throw the leg up and over the arm. One of the toughest things for me when I was transitioning for my gi debut, which actually never happened, was the sequence in which you put a strangle in versus the leg coming up and over the shoulder. For no-gi, you usually go into a sequence where you trap an arm first, and then you get to a strangle grip second. Whereas with the gi, you usually apply your grips first and then throw a leg over second. So we're going to look at some of the differences and similarities between strangling gi versus strangling no-gi. So we're going to start off no-gi, where we're on the underhook side, and we're looking to go into hand fighting sequences here. Normally, from here, when you're working with a gi, you get your grips in place and then you fire a leg over. With no-gi, I'm going to look to trap a hand first. So I can do anything where I control Meregali's initial primary hand. I go to strangle him, and he uses his other hand to pull my hand down, and then make a transition to a cross wrist grip here. Where now I have control of a cross wrist, and I can use this hand to do whatever I want. He has a choice now between either putting his hand in place to stop me from strangling him, or he has a choice of trying to strip my hand off and to break the grip. If he goes to stop me from strangling him, I can always throw a leg over and trap his arm. If he tries to stop me and strip the grip, then I just go in and I split his hands, and now I have a double cross. And this will always allow me to first trap a wrist, and now I have a leg that's fired over his arm, and I can trap his arm successfully. Now once I have two of his arms controlled, it's a pretty easy thing for me to start punching a strangle in, where from here I can go in and I can lock up. So we trap a leg or trap an arm first with our legs, and then we apply a strangle second. So he has defensive hands in place. I strip one hand, I attempt to strangle him, and he pulls the hand down. I switch to a cross wrist grip like so. I strip the grip, and now I take either a double cross, or he grabs the grip and I can't strangle him from here. I shove the hand down, I fire my leg over, and now we cross our ankles like so. So now the hand's trapped first. I strip the second hand once again, and now the strangle comes in second. We can go in and apply a strangle. It's a little bit different than looking at bow and arrows, where the grip comes in first and the leg comes over second. I'll let the expert take it from here on that.
Okay, so the main difference between the gi and no gi to that kind of strangle, I believe that is the way we are controlling the shoulder line of our opponent. When we are fighting the strangle from here, we have an easier path starting from the hooks to the shoulder line, getting to push my opponent, guard down, and then apply my strangles. This kind of hand fight is very hard sometimes because the opponent can drag my hands down, but it's pretty easy to work for the both ways, breaking grips and then grabbing some collar deep like this. So I have this deep grip on the collar, so it's pretty easy right now to keep controlling my opponent by holding the hand or controlling the opposite collar, and then after that I can push my opponents down, keep the shoulder line, and then moving to the choke. So in the no-gi, if I do that kind of movement where I lose that controlling from my chest against my opponent's back, I will lose the back take. So this is detail, in my opinion, is the most important thing. We have this great chance to break the grips and then start to go deep on the collar. And by doing this movement, stepping over the shoulder, we don't lose my opponent's control. And also I can keep his body on my submission. So I think that is the main difference between gi and no-gi. No-gi, we lose the control much easier. So for that reason, you keep the opponent by holding like so tight, and on the gi we have more chance to go straight to the collars and then find submissions.
Got it. So basically, like with no gi, you work on the grips first and you trap the arm later with the leg.
You work on trapping the leg first, and then you work on strangling second, in general, for no-gi.
Okay.
In general, for the gi, I find it's much easier to set up the strangling grips first, and then fire a leg over.
And then you
so it's like almost the opposite.
That's
That's what my biggest issue was I was trying to trap hands first, And then by the time I actually went to go put the grips in, the guy was like kind of moving down the body and got away, and it kind of gets all sloppy from there. So that was the biggest thing for me.
Oh, Gordon and Nicholas, so I think that's a great question here. So we were talking about back attacks, but talk about Jiu-Jitsu overall. What was the biggest challenge for you, Gordon, to go from no gi to gi? And then I'm going to ask the same question to Nicholas, to go from gi to no gi, as you have been training no gi lately.
I think for me, it was my style of passing. I like to do a lot of loose outside passing and high step passing that I've just recently developed. And you get like one strong blue belt who makes like a death grip on your pants, and now it just completely stops my entire leg pommeling sequences. I'm like, what is this? I like to do a lot of leg pommeling, especially for no gi. There's leg lock, so you have to be constantly pommeling legs. But you get one, strong guy who just makes a death grip on your pants, and now you can't pommel that leg until you address the grip. So I think for me that was the biggest thing, was integrating my leg pommeling into the guard passing with the grips on the pants.
Yeah. What about you? I think I know we were talking about that yesterday, today actually. But what's your biggest challenge?
I just started this year, January, to train no-gi, but my whole view about this kind of sport, because it's different. Jiu-Jitsu and no-gi is two different sports. We need to use, of course, almost the same body actions, but the control is different. And I feel that the most hard thing is about the engagement. It's very hard you find somehow who is fighting against you to engage against you. Oh. When you are on the bottom, the guy on the top like to break grips and like stay far from you to get some weird movement, to get a control. And when you are on the bottom, you are not engaging. You are just like pushing your opponent forward, using the frames and not engage on the fight.
And with the gi, you can pull down.
Yeah, on the gi, I can hold my opponent just by using one, like, I don't know, collar or sleeve, and I can start from that. On the gi, if you control some wrist or some ankle, your opponent has more chance to break the position, to break the situation, then we start doing something totally different.
Well, Gordon, coincidence, this is one of the complaints you have about no gi as well, right? Like sometimes you are on bottom and the person on top just runs away and doesn't want to engage and runs and runs and runs. So
that is the main problem, I think, about no gi. It's very hard to hold the opponent.
The story of my life is trying to get people to actually do jiu-jitsu with me. Like if I can just force a guy into positions where I can actually get a hold of him and do jiu-jitsu, everything's a lot easier. But for me, it's just, guys fake engagement from top, and then the second they feel a dangerous grip, they strip the grip and they back away, and now it's 5 seconds here, 10 seconds there.
The big finals on the BCC, everybody was telling that were good fights. Were 2 fights not engaging and doing faking movements, wrestling, faking no-gi.
No, especially in the finals that you can't pull guard, right? Like, you got to be standing, and then when you are on board, probably the person on top is winning because he probably took you down, and now he doesn't want to pass anymore. Right?
That's a big thing too. Is for me tactically, I always try to be the guy who scores first, because I know if I lose a score, if I'm down on points, the guy just he's gonna disengage 10 times as hard. Where at least I know if I'm up 2, then he has to actually come towards me and do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, and then open up space. No, man, that's amazing. That's amazing.
What's up, guys? Well, you're here again with BJJ Fanatics for a fun little instructional we have today, shutting down this overback grip, which everyone just randomly calls Octopus guard now. When you use it correctly, it can actually be like a cool little series. Like, it is an effective move. It's not really so much of a guard. It's more of like a scrimmaging position. Like when you get taken down, you kind of scrimmage out of this position, or you use it to turn it into scrimmages. But it's a pretty cool position. It can be used effectively if you do it right.